What is going on, guys? Should be live now here. Got another crazy 7-game NBA slate to talk about, so give me 1 second. Let me tweet out the stream, and then we'll jump into the breakdown. This is a really interesting slate. I think there is a pretty significant edge on it. I'll talk about it in a bit. I've mentioned on Twitter, if you guys don't follow me there, I think there's going to be a lot of value open up in the late games. The Pelicans, Kings, and the Wizards, Bucks have nothing to play for. I could see a few of those teams rest a lot of their players. We already have some guys out, but I could see a lot more guys get rolled out. Like, again, I mentioned Favors, JJ Redick. I don't think they play. I think there's a decent chance the Bucks rest all their main guys and even their veterans, so like maybe the Lopez brothers, Giannis, Bledsoe, Middleton, George Hill, right? So Ursan, like there could be a lot of value opened up. So that is my approach right now: is jam in the studs from the games that, or for the teams that have to win, and then get the value in those late games. I do think there could be some decent value right now with Philly. That's dependent on Tobias and Horford news. The first game, a lot of people have asked me about it. It's a complete stay away for me. I'm avoiding it. I'm buying time for the later games. Again, I think there could be better value in those late games. Like I mentioned yesterday, Norman Powell, that news didn't come out till like 5 p.m. He ended up going for like close to 50 fantasy points. He was super low owned. Again, I think we could get some of that again with these later games. So that is my approach right now. Jake Anderson, again, the $5 super chat. Thank you, man. Feeling a big day today. Let's get it. Let's go again. I think there is an edge here. Javon Carter, no reason to get to him. Again, I think there's a lot more better value potentially in those late games. So that is my strategy to this slate: is play the stars in the games they have to win, and then get to those value guys. So definitely stars and scrubs approach 100%. I don't think there even is a reason to go balanced on the slate to get contrarian. Like in my opinion, there's no point to. It doesn't make sense at all to even try to go balanced. So let's go over the news from the beginning of the day. I already mentioned a lot of the stuff last night. Orlando, Aaron Gordon, Fournier, MCW, those guys are all out. Again, kind of expected that. Luka, Porzingis are in. I like both these guys. Dallas can still move up in the West. So I think they're going to get their normal run, which is 35 plus minutes. So I have interest in Luka. I have interest in Porzingis. Maybe the minutes aren't as secure as guys like, the Suns guys, the Trailblazers guys, the Spurs guys. I did I misspoke in my video. Memphis still has to win too. They could theoretically still get pushed out of the playoffs, Memphis. So they do still have to win. Let's see. I'm not going to get to any of the Mavs value, obviously. Orlando released their starting lineup. They do have 10 active players, and they have absolutely nothing to play for. I'm worried about the Magic guys. Some people have asked me about Vucevic. I'm completely avoiding. I think this could be a game where he maybe only plays the first half, gets limited. They said they're going to run all 10 guys from their rotation, which is not a good sign. Derek White, this is pretty big news. He is a game-time decision. We already have Patty Mills ruled out too. If Derek White is out, could make a guy like DeJounte Murray. He would probably be my favorite play in the mid-range if Derek White does get ruled out. Obviously, it would be a boost to DeMar DeRozan as well. Let's see. Danuel House ruled out. I think that is pretty significant. He was playing huge minutes. Even more minutes for guys like Rivers, more minutes for guys like McLemore. I think, again, Houston's going to have a pretty tight rotation. Could be like a 7-8 man rotation there. Nets are starting Chioza, Johnson, TLC, Anderson, and Kurucs. So Justin Anderson is viable. Again, the Nets do have a lot of bodies still. So let's go over the odds here for these games. We have Bucks Magic at 221.5 over under. The Magic are 4.5 point favorites. Rockets Spurs 237.5 over under. Spurs are 3.5 point favorites. Suns 76ers are 226 over under. Suns are 9.5 point favorites. Celtics Grizzlies 225.5 over under. Celtics are 3.5 point favorites. Trailblazers Mavs at 238.5 over under. Portland 4.5 point favorites. Bucks Wizards 231.5. Bucks are 9 point favorites, and the Pelicans and the Kings at 232.5 over under. Kings are 2 point favorites. So let's get into the breakdown. Then we did just get the starters here for Brooklyn. I think the guy that probably stands out the most now is Justin Anderson because he's starting. Right? They have him, Anderson. Yep. There's no other Andersons on Brooklyn. So Justin Anderson going to be starting at min price. Like, he's someone that's certainly in play for value if you're going that stars and scrubs approach. The slight issue is it's not really the best matchup here against Orlando. Even if a lot of those guys out, they just play at a slow pace. So Brooklyn, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 guys, I think. Let's see. 1, 2, let me make sure I count that right. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 active bodies. So, I mean, these guys will get good run. I think a guy like Tyler Johnson, Chioza, TLC, or Kurucs are all in play for value. And I don't mind if you get to any of those guys. I think probably at least one of those guys will have a really solid day. I just think, again, potentially we might have better value in those late games. Again, that's still up in the air, but I'm assuming we get a lot of guys resting in those late games. So do you want to take that risk? Again, that's the direction I'm going. I'm taking a risk and hoping a lot more guys rest in those late games, and we get like potentially maybe like Milwaukee Bucks with only 8 active players against the Wizards, or the Pelicans rest a lot more of those guys, and then like NAW, Frank Jackson look really good. Or maybe the Kings, again, they rest a lot of their veterans. And maybe a guy like Harry Giles, Jabari Parker become a lot more viable. So that is my approach. That's the way I'm attacking this slate. So if you get to these value guys in Brooklyn, I have I don't mind it. It's just not going to be the way that I go. So Tyler Johnson, Chioza, Kurucs, TLC are all guys, even Justin Anderson, are in play. But again, for those reasons, I'm taking the risk, which is definitely a riskier approach, and hoping guys rest in those late games. So sure, if you're going for the safe route, yes, you can get to these Nets guys. Again, Kurucs, TLC, for their prices, probably look their best, or Justin Anderson. Again, Tyler Johnson shows us still have upside too, so that's really it for Brooklyn. Let's move on to Orlando. So Orlando's a team I'm not getting to any of. People have asked me about Vooch at 8-6. They have nothing to play for. They're locked into the 8 seed. They're going to play all 10 guys. The coach already said that, so I'm worried. Sure, could they still get us 35 minutes? He could. We saw it with the Lakers last night, which was super. I'm still really upset about that. Mentioned it too the other night against the Rockets. I had Kuzma and AD. Potentially was going to take down a tournament, and then they did not come back into the fourth in a close game. But sure enough, they run Anthony Davis and LeBron into the ground for almost 40 minutes in a meaningless game against backup guys Denver. That was, I could barely sleep last night. I was so mad about that. But, I guess there's always a chance he could play some minutes, but I'm guessing they limit him today, so I'm not going there. Fultz is going to come off the bench. He'll probably get decent run. I think, maybe close to 30 minutes. He's a guy that does have that type of upside. Like, I don't mind taking a shot on Fultz off the bench. If I was going to play someone in Orlando, I think it would be Markelle Fultz, and just hope he gets more minutes. Hope he gets his 30+ minutes. But everyone else, like Ennis is at 4-3. I think he's fine. But I'm just worried that with a 10-man rotation, maybe everyone just plays like 25 or so minutes, and then just no one really has huge upside. Right, Gary Clark is 3-4. I think he's viable for sure. He could play 20 minutes. He could play 30+. I'm okay if you get to Gary Clark for value. Birch and Woundu, I'm not getting there. Johnson, like Vic Law, Frazier, these will all guys that will be in the rotation too, but I'm not going to take a shot at any of those guys for min price. So that is my approach right now. Again, I think there certainly are guys you can play in this first game, but I'm going to avoid it. Hoping that we get a lot of guys resting in those late games. So let's go on to Houston and San Antonio. No Harden. I think Westbrook looks like one of the top plays of the day at 9-3. Mike D'Antoni is not a guy that rests his starters like ever. Like even in preseason games, meaningless games, Harden, Westbrook get like 35 minutes. So I am not really concerned in Westbrook's minutes. I think he plays 35 in this one with no James Harden. He looks really good here in a match against the Spurs. So really do like Westbrook there at 9-3. I think he's one of the top spend-ups of the day. Covington just at a tricky price, 6-7. I'm not getting to really any of the mid-range guys on this slate. McLemore and Rivers, I think, look decent now that House is out too. Like these are two guys that should play at least 30 minutes. Both of them have upside. Again, they kind of have to knock down their threes, but we saw the 60 fantasy game from Rivers the other day. He saved me on that slate. I think he's certainly in play in this one. Again, we're going to get 30-plus minutes from both Rivers and McLemore. I'm not going to get to Tucker or Green on the slate at 4-1. I think those guys just are kind of capped upside-wise. Eric Gordon, today's Tuesday, yeah, so Eric Gordon's not going to play yet. He'll be back tomorrow. So right now, I mean, they have what? Westbrook 1, Covington 2, McLemore 3, Rivers 4, Tucker 5, Jeff Green 6. That's 6 guys in the rotation. Now, sure, I think probably Frazier will get more run. He's min-priced, but I don't know if I'm going to go there. I think a guy like Chris Clemens might get in the rotation. So, but still, I don't know if I want to take a shot on them. I think really for me, right now, it's obviously Westbrook, the clear play at the top, I think looks really good. And then McLemore, Rivers for value are certainly in play here. They're going to have to do a lot more with no Harden out there. San Antonio. So the Spurs, they have to win this one. Derek White news is huge for me. Game time decision. If he is out, DeJounte Murray would be my favorite play in the mid-range at 6'2". I think he has enormous upside if Derek White is out in this up-tempo game against Houston. Against Houston, I should say. But, again, this is strictly dependent on White news. If White plays, I don't have Anderson Murray. DeMar DeRozan is at 8K. He gets a slight boost with no Derek White, obviously. Again, they have to win this game. He maybe gets extended a bit. But are you going to play DeMar DeRozan over some of the other stars on the slate? That's a question you have to ask yourself. I think DeMar DeRozan goes a little bit lower owned, but still has that type of upside in a matchup like this. Rudy Gay's at 5'8". I think he's fine in the mid-range. I think this is a game he could get extended with Houston running small ball. It's just, you're not getting him at a discount. And getting to a mid-range guy, it then makes roster construction a little bit difficult, right? Because I really think jamming in at least 3 stars on the slate is the way to go with a lot of value already on the slate and potentially more in those late games. I'm not going to get to Pirtle. Again, I'm worried San Antonio matches the small ball of Houston. Lonnie Walker, Keldon Johnson are fine, but again, at 4-3 and 3-9, I think there's probably better value elsewhere. Mills is out. I'm not going to take a shot on Bellinelli. So really that's it for me. It's Murray and DeRozan right now, and that's assuming Derek White is out. Derek White's in. Then I'm fine if you land at any of those guys, White, Murray, or DeRozan, but definitely takes a slight hit to Murray and DeRozan if Derek White does play. Phoenix, Philly. Phoenix, they have to win. Again, I want to target teams that are going to play their guys big minutes. Booker and Ayton are going to play huge minutes. They're going to be playing against mostly backups, potentially all backups if Tobias Harris and Al Horford are out too. Booker in 3 quarters won for 50 fancy points there against OKC. He has been playing unbelievable, shooting the ball really, really well. So, yeah, I have interest in Booker. Again, what you're going to get is the minute security out of him and Ayton. Ayton, I assume he is now going to be back in the starting lineup after that whole debacle yesterday with the testing and him missing a test and then him being on the way to the arena, missed the whole first. Yeah, that was just a nightmare. But, yeah, I think he probably, if he starts, he's going to get 35-plus minutes. So Booker and Ayton are guys I'm looking for as spend-ups for sure. Rubio, again, the price point, I'm not going to get there. I'm not going to get to Cam Johnson either. Again, the mid-range is just basically in a void for me at the moment. I'm just going to jam in the stars and jam in the scrubs into my lineups. Philly, right now, pretty big news with Tobias Harris, Al Horford. Let me refresh you if we got any more news. I'm trying to keep an eye on the chat too. That's news we already know. So no Embiid, no Ben Simmons, no Josh Richardson. I'm assuming Horford and Tobias Harris will be out too, but if they do play, I think they're okay in the mid-range. But again, it would just be a little bit tricky. So, this one's tough. I would like both Tobias and Horford, but if they do play, I would be a little bit worried that maybe they get limited in kind of a meaningless game for them. So, I'm kind of just hoping they do get ruled out. If that's the case, I think a guy like Alec Burks does look really solid for value at 4-3. I think we would probably get around 30 minutes from him. He's a guy that will shoot the ball a bunch when he's out there. Good matchup here against Phoenix, too. So I have interest in Burks. I think Milton's fine, too, at 5-1, but probably would prefer Burks for a little bit cheaper. I'm not going to get to Glenn Robinson or Mike Scott. I do have interest in Matisse Thybulle, 3-2. Played 33 minutes the last game, went for 24 fancy points. If Horford and Tobias are out, again, Thybulle is a young guy. He will get good run. I think we probably get at least 30 minutes from Thybulle if Horford and Tobias are out. And what I like about Thybulle is, sure, he's not the best scorer, but he will get those peripheral stats for you. He's a guy that will probably get you a couple blocks, a couple steals. He's a guy that can get you 5 steals in a game. He's a really good defender. Great matchup. Again, he will get those peripheral stats, so I have interest in Thibault. Again, that's assuming Tobias Harris and Al Horford are out. Korkmaz, I think, would be definitely in play. I think he would go very low owned, but I think we'd probably get 25 minutes from him. He can get hot behind the three-point line. Like, I would not be surprised if Korkmaz goes for 30 plus if he's shooting the ball well at min price. So he's someone you can consider. And then finally the bigs, O'Quinn, Norvell, Pele. Those are two guys I have interest in if, again, Horford and Tobias are out. I assume one of those guys would start. If Kyle O'Quinn starts at min price against Phoenix, I like him a lot. He's a really good point per minute guy. Again, if they start Pele, or Pel, however you pronounce his name, I think I would have interest there too. So those two plays depended on Horford, Tobias news, but I would assume one of those guys would start at center against DeAndre Ayton, who's not a good defender. All right, let's move on to Boston, Memphis. Boston, they're locked into the 3 seed. They have nothing to play for. I'm worried about the minutes. If I was going to take a shot on one guy, it would be Tatum at 7-8. Hope he gets his minutes because he's a guy that could go for 50 plus in this matchup. But again, I voiced my concerns. They're locked into the 3 seed. They have nothing to play for. Boston's going to be a full avoid for me. If I was going to pick one, it would be Tatum, but I'm not going there on this one. On the Memphis side, they still have to win. Again, I misspoke in my video. Memphis still has to win, so they're going to play their guys big minutes. John Morant's at 8-3 in a tougher spot against Boston. I just like the spend ups elsewhere in other games. So I'm not going to get to Ja. He makes for an interesting contrarian option for sure as a spend up, but I'm not going there. JV is a little bit interesting at 7-2. He's going to go virtually unowned after only shooting the ball twice. Again, Toronto's kind of doubling him there. I don't know if Boston follows suit. JV, if he gets like 34 minutes in this one, I would not be surprised if he goes for 50 plus. But again, he's a little bit of a riskier option too. Dylan Brooks, finally, is the last guy I'll mention at 5'4", has been shooting the ball an insane amount with no Triple J. 17, 18, 26 times. My issue with him is he is a little bit score independent, but he is a guy that is going to, if he's going to shoot the ball that much, I think you have to have some interest in him in a mid-range play. It's just the price point makes it a little bit tricky on this slate. If you guys have asked me about Brandon Clark, I'm not going there at 5K. That's way too expensive. And that's it for me. So let's talk about Portland, Dallas. This is a game I want a lot of exposure to. Both teams, especially Portland, have to win. Now Dallas, sure, again, their minutes could be a little bit more in question because they're already guaranteed in the playoffs, but they can still push for seeding, right? Whereas Portland, again, they have to win to get in the playoffs. Lillard at 9-8 is certainly in play as a spend up. What are you going to get out of these Portland Stars? An 8-man rotation and big minutes for the starters. You're going to get 40 minutes from Lillard. He's a guy that has 80 fantasy point upside when playing well. Now, sure, his floor is a little bit lower because when he's not shooting the ball like great, he can only get you like 35, 40 fantasy points. But when he's knocking down those threes and he's feeling it, again, he can go for 70, 80. Like we've seen him go for 70 plus basically in 2 of the last 4 games. And Dallas, I'm not scared of them defensively, so I have interest in the Lillard for sure. I think he makes for one of the better spend-ups of the day. I also really like Nurkic. And I think Nurkic goes really low owned on the slate, but this is a spot I'm willing to buy in on him. Was in foul trouble last game. Don't be worried about the 29 minutes. I think we get close to 35 from him as long as he's not in foul trouble. Dallas, again, they're really bad at defending big, so I really like Nurkic. I think he goes very low owned compared to Lillard. If you want to get a little bit different, I don't mind going to Nurkic over Lillard here. Can you play both? Yes, you can. Lillard is going to be a lot more popular in my opinion, but I do like Nurkic a good amount. A guy's going to do it all. Rebounds, assists, blocks, steals, scoring the ball. This is a game I would not be surprised if Nurkic goes for 50 plus. So, yeah, Lillard, Nurkic look really good to me. I think Lillard's going to be a lot more popular. He's a guy that does have more upside, in my opinion, than Nurkic. But you're going to get Lillard at like way more ownership. So, up to you on who you want to go there if you're just picking one of those Portland studs. CJ at 7-6 is going to go very low owned because of the price. Again, 7-6, the mid-range is a little bit trickier on the slate because I really do think it's a Stars and Scrubs approach. If Lillard is struggling, you're going to see most likely a big game from CJ, right? Lillard struggled there against the Clippers. CJ went for 48 fantasy points. So, if you don't want to play Nurkic and you want to play one of the Blazers guards and you want to get different, I don't hate the idea of going to CJ over Lillard because, again, you know Lillard is going to be very popular on this slate. Lastly, Melo at 5'6". Don't think we have to do it. Gary Trent at 5'1", 2 scoring independent. I'm not going there. Whiteside going to be back at 4-2. There's better value elsewhere. I'm not going to play Whiteside for only like 15 minutes. So that's my thoughts there. It's Lillard, it's Nurkic, it's CJ. I think all three are definitely in play. All three are going to play huge minutes in a must-win game. On the Dallas side, I am avoiding everyone besides Doncic and Porzingis. I think both look really good here and might go lower owned. Now again, Dallas, let me just confirm this again, but they can still catch, I believe, is it the Clippers? Or wait, who are they behind? They can still move up in the Western Conference. Let's see. They are currently they're currently the 7 seed. They can still catch the Jazz. They're only 1 game back. So yeah, do they want to try to catch Utah and avoid the Clippers in the first round? I think that's not a bad idea, right? So I think they're going to try to win this one. So I think we get 35 plus minutes from both Luka and Porzingis. I like them both a lot. Luka, great matchup. I mean, look at his stats at last game: 36, 14, and 19 with a steal. Like, he is a guy that, again, will do it all. Rebounds, assists, scoring the ball. It's a great matchup here. This game should be played at a really fast pace. I like Luka a lot as a spend up. I think we get the normal minutes from him. I think we get the normal minutes from Porzingis. They rested the last game 8-2. That looks really good for Porzingis, too. As long as he stays out of foul trouble, I think we get 35 minutes from Porzingis. Now, he is a guy that will be in foul trouble a decent amount, so I am a little bit worried, especially going up against a guy like Yusuf Nurkic. But the upside is there with Porzingis at 8-2, for sure. So I do like both those guys a lot as spend-ups. Again, completely avoid everyone else. There's no reason to get to any of the value Dallas with Porzingis and Doncic playing. Let's see. What we got? Nurkic or Westbrook. And I'll get to questions here in a sec. We got last 2 games here, and these are really, really important. So I'm going to try to hurry up, so we got 10 minutes. Pelicans, they're resting Holiday, Ingram, Zion. I think they rest more here. They have nothing to play for. They're out of the playoff picture. I don't see a reason why they play old man Derek Favors, who's been dealing with knee injuries. I really think he rests. I think J.J. Redick rests. I don't think there's a reason to play 36-year-old J.J. Redick either. That's my opinion. Sure, could they still play in a meaningless game? Yeah. But I think more guys get rolled out here. I think Redick does not play. I think Favors does not play. I think maybe Lonzo does not play in a meaningless game. Who knows? If that's the case, again, this is where we could get some great value. So are you willing to take the shot and hope guys rest in the late games? Again, that is my strategy. I'm hoping we get a lot of guys resting in these late games and the news comes out way later, so a lot of these guys go lower owned. But guys I've interested in, a guy like Josh Hart I think could have huge upside at 4-1. NAW, the preseason GOAT. This guy, when he gets minutes, he crushes. He's super, super aggressive offensively. I like him. I like Frank Jackson at 3-1. Another guy that could, if he gets the minutes, could absolutely crush that salary. So this is, again, my strategy to the slate. I like these value guys a lot. I assume we get more guys resting for the Pelicans in a meaningless game. I think they're going to want to run their young guys out there. So, NAW, Josh Hart, Frank Jackson, I think look really good for value, assuming we get more guys resting. Jackson Hayes, Melee, whoever starts at the center there. Again, I don't think Derek Favors plays. There's no reason for Derek Favors to play in this one. So whoever starts, whether it be Hayes or Melee, I would have some interest in the bigs. But again, guys, that's the way I'm attacking this slate. I assume we get a lot more guys resting. Possibly Lonzo, possibly Favors, possibly J.J. Redick. Maybe even, I don't know. That would be then like an 8-man rotation for them. So that's my approach. Lonzo at 6'4". Again, if you want to get to him and hope he gets his normal 30-plus minutes, I don't hate that idea, but again, I'm worried. They have nothing to play for. So will he get 30 minutes in this one? If he does get the minutes, Lonzo could absolutely crush that salary with Drew out, Ingram out, and Zion out. He could absolutely crush 6'4". Do you want to take that risk? Up to you. Let's go on to the Kings. So Kings are another team that have absolutely nothing to play for. Fox is already resting. No Holmes. No Bazemore. I think we could get some more guys out. Like a veteran like Harrison Barnes, I think, doesn't play in this one. I don't know if Buddy Hield or Bielitsa play. Bogdan at 5'5". This is the same analysis as Lonzo Ball. If I knew Lonzo Ball was going to get his normal minutes, if I knew Bogdan Bogdanovic was going to get his normal minutes, I would love them both in the mid-range. Absolutely love. But I'm worried in a game they have nothing to play for. Do they still get their run? I'm guessing no, but who knows, right? The Lakers had absolutely nothing to play for, and they ran AD and LeBron into the ground last night against backups. So my approach is I think more guys rest in these late games. So potentially value here. A guy like Harry Giles at 3-2. Young guy. I think he could get extended. And he's a guy that when he gets minutes absolutely crushes. So I have interest there. I have interest in a guy like Jabari Parker who got run that last game. 12 minutes, went for 21 fancy points. He could get huge runs. So these are guys that have upside if more guys rest. You could look to guys Yogi Ferrell even at the point guard, maybe Kyle Guy. So yeah, that's it for the breakdown there. Again, I'm hoping we get more guys resting. Lastly, Milwaukee, Washington, both teams, again, have absolutely nothing to play for. So I think we get more guys resting. I don't think we see Middleton. I don't think we see Bledsoe. I don't think we see Brook Lopez. I don't think we see Giannis. I don't think we see George Hill. I don't think we see Dante DiVincenzo. I think Ersan might rest. I think Wes Matthews might be out. If that's the case, they could have like an 8-man rotation here. Like Connaughton, Marvin Williams, maybe, I don't think Korver will play either. He's a veteran. Maybe not Robin Lopez. Like, we saw last year or 2 years ago in one of the last games for the Bucks, they had like a 7-man rotation. And literally, like, guys played like 40-plus minutes. I retweeted that if you guys are interested in that. But this is a game, again, I don't think Milwaukee plays. I think they rest a lot of guys. If that's the case, Connaughton at 3-4 could look amazing. I think a guy like Frank Mason at min price could look amazing. If these guys can play huge minutes in an up-tempo game against Washington. I think a guy like maybe DJ Wilson at min price you could consider for sure. So, yeah, again, Sterling Brown at min price. That's my approach. I think a lot of these guys rest. So I think there is value potentially, and we probably won't get that news till later. So again, do you want to take the risk and hope guys rest? That's the way I'm going. Lastly, Washington, they have nothing to play for. Now, a lot of the guys are younger on the roster, so I still could see Bryant, Troy Brown playing their normal minutes. But you never know. Maybe they rest Bryant, Troy Brown, Rui. Ish is a little bit older. And maybe they go with the younger guys in the end of the bench. So maybe a guy like Jerian Grant, a guy like Mo Wagner potentially. So yeah, leave some room in your lineup for the late games. I think we could get chaos later in the day. So yeah, that's it. That's the way I'm attacking this slate, guys. Let me refresh Fantasy Labs one more time, then we can get to questions. We got about 5 minutes till lock, but I'll stay on a little bit later to answer your guys' questions. We have almost 250 viewers right now. If you guys enjoy this content, if you enjoy the free live streams, appreciate it. If you hit that like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. To TLC or not, I think those Nets value are safe options. So yeah, I'm fine with TLC. Hayes should play a lot today, even if Favors plays. I really don't see Derek Favors playing. I don't. Like, with them having nothing to play for, Favors has dealt with so much injuries this year that it doesn't make sense. I like Justin Anderson. Yeah, I think Anderson's at min price is certainly in play for sure. Let's see. Melly, Sarge, or Giles. I'm not gonna go Sarge with Ayton playing. So yeah, I'm gonna take the shot on Giles, hoping we get more guys rest there for the Kings. I'm wrong with Anderson too. Yeah, I'm fine with Anderson at min price. I am. Nets 9-man rotation. Justin Anderson won't play full minutes. Who knows? Yeah, core. Again, I'm taking a little bit different approach to this one. I already mentioned, again, playing the studs and hoping we get value in the late game. So the way I'm going is the stars. So guy like Westbrook, a guy like Nurkic. Again, if you want to go lower, that's fine too. I just think Nurkic goes a lot lower owned. A guy like Luka too. Again, I just want to jam in the stars. Value option. Right now, it's so tricky because there's so much up in the air. But one of the value guys in the late game, right now, I'll tell you one of the value guys I have in my lineup. I'll go with a guy like Harry Giles. I really think he could extend it here. Like him, NAW, Frank Mason, Frank Jackson. There's a lot of different ways you can go. Again, we have to get that news, but that is the way that I am going about this slate. You like Westbrook. I do. I think he's going to play huge minutes. Favorite Houston value, it's going to be Rivers or McLemore for me. Probably Rivers for his price. Javon Carter, there's no reason to go to Javon Carter on the slate. You got to extend it a bit because of the blowout. Thoughts on Jerome Robinson? He could be someone that gets more minutes if some guys rest. So I want to see what Washington does with their starters. Maybe I fade Anderson and play Sterling Brown and NAW at the moment. Up to you, really it is. Anderson might be the safer option because he's starting, but if a lot of guys rest in those late games, again, I think there is, but they're like the value in the late game, I think, has more upside if we get a lot of those guys resting. Kurucs or Gary Clark. I will go Kurucs there over Gary Clark just because the Magic have 10-man rotation, and they could just run everyone like 24, 25 minutes. Westbrook, Booker, Gay, Melo, Porzingis, Burks, Robinson, Carter, basically stacking must-win games. Fine with him. Pat Connaughton 3-4 if those dudes sit, look amazing. Again, yeah, I would really like Pat Connaughton 3-4 if all those guys from Milwaukee do end up resting. Westbrook, Lillard, Porzingis, Ayton for studs. Yeah, I mean, that's good with me too. Pirtle, McLemore, DeJounte Murray, and Lonnie Walker. It's going to be Murray and Lonnie Walker for me. I really don't. I think Jakob Pirtle gets limited here. If Derek White's out and Magic guys play big minutes today, Coach said they want to play this game like versus Milwaukee's seeding. I don't know if that was exactly the quote. Rivers not starting doesn't worry me. He came off the bench last game. He went for 60. So if you get to Austin Rivers, good with it. Yeah, Westbrook, McLemore, Green, Jeff Green. So Jeff Green starting at the 3, Covington, and Tucker. I mean, Houston's going to run a really, really tight rotation. I'm going with Westbrook, Booker, Daquan Jeffries, Nurkic, Pele, O'Quinn, Lillard, Thibault, and Corey Joseph for now. Korver's ancient, though. Yeah, I mean, I don't think Korver plays. Like, I don't think he will play. I think a lot of guys from Milwaukee rest. You like Josh Hart? Yes, I do. I think, he's a guy that will probably play if a lot of those guys do end up resting still because he's young. Thibault, Parker, NAW. Tricky one to answer right now, to be honest. I like all three for value. I do. I don't know if one stands out more than the other. Again, I'm assuming a lot of guys rest. So, game's locked. Locked in TLC and Schiozza for the first game. I'm fine with that. Again, Nets 9-man rotation. The Nets value is probably the safe value, like I mentioned, right? We know those guys are going to get decent run, but do you want to take the risk and hope we get guys scratched later in the day? Burks about to break the slate, I think. I like Alec Burks a good amount at his price if Tobias and Al Horford are out. Let's see. Do you like Porzingis today? I do. I like Porzingis and Luka a lot. My issue with Porzingis is he's a guy that normally is in foul trouble. He's going to be matched up against Yusuf Nurkic. There is potential for foul trouble there. Do you like Luka or KP for their price? With price basically not really mattering on the slate because I think there will be a lot of value. I think Luka is just the safer option, but Porzingis probably the better point per dollar play if he does stay out of foul trouble. Anderson, 15%. Good with me. Which 76er? Right now, it's going to be Alec Burks for me. Alec Burks and Thibault, and possibly O'Quinn or Norvell Powell. One of those centers. So it's going to be Burks, Thibault, and one of the centers, assuming Horford and Tobias are out. Fultz, 31%. TLC, 29%. Vooch, 21%. I'm really fine with getting away from Vooch, 21%. Fultz and TLC, mega chalk. I'm good avoiding there. Again, that's where I'm willing to take a shot. Looks like a lot of people just went with the safe value, which I'm fine with. Fultz, TLC, Justin Anderson, guys will play decent minutes. Let's see. Porzingis or Ayton. That's a really tough one for me. I think Ayton probably has a better shot of not getting in foul trouble. So Ayton's probably a little bit safer than Porzingis. Whereas Porzingis, I think, has more upside if he does stay out of foul trouble. KP way too cheap for having put fit. Yeah, I mean, again, I like Porzingis. My worry is the foul trouble concerns. Val and Derek Brooks stack. Yeah, I mean, that's going to be very low owned. Jonas Valanciunas and Dylan Brooks, Yeah, that's going to be super low owned, but I'm okay with it. Justin Anderson, 8% in the $1. How does Westbrook, Booker, McLemore, Gay, Nurk, Burks, TLC, Corey Joseph look? Looks okay. I don't know if I'll get to Kojo. I think he's potentially someone that could rest too, a veteran guard. So again, I want to play the young guys in those late games, assuming we get a lot of guys resting. We're not going to get burned fading this first game, right? Possibly, you could. I mean, there's guys that have upside, right? The guys I mentioned on the Nets, like TLC, Kurucs, one of the point guards, Justin Anderson. On the Magic, I think Fultz, again, would be the guy I would consider. Eubanks an option? No, I wouldn't go Eubanks. I think Rudy Gay plays a lot at the backup 5. Who is a lock for center on FanDuel? I don't really know who's center eligible, but I would go value or Nurkic or Porzingis. DK, sorry if you already missed my question, but let's see. Booker and Bogdan or Luka and Pat Connaughton. So I'm worried Bogdan doesn't play his full minutes. He could. He definitely could. But I would go Luka and Pat Connaughton, assuming a lot of guys are out for the Bucks. Again, it's really hard to answer questions right now because we don't have this news. I'm with you, DK. Tons of value opens up in the later games, and we'll get to press ownership. Exactly. So, like we saw with Toronto, midday, or it was like the middle of the slate, 5 p.m. Lowry got ruled out. Fred VanVleet got ruled out. Norman Powell was probably one of the top value plays of the day. He came in at like 5% ownership. That's where I think we could have a huge advantage to the slate. Now, sure, could the Bucks, Wizards, Pelicans, and Kings all play their starters normal minutes? I think it's really slim possibility, but they could. I just think that a lot of guys will end up resting. Someone pick LeVert on their lineup. I'm surprised you're not higher on JV. I do like JV. It's just the price point makes it a little bit tricky, and he's more in the mid-range. Best value small forward. Right now I have Thibault. Again, that's assuming Tobias and Al Horford will be out. Thibault is a guy that can get you a lot of blocks, a lot of steals. And I think this is a game he could get extended in a good matchup. I think it's a McCollum night. I don't mind CJ as a pivot off a high-owned, in my opinion, Lillard. I think Lillard will be pretty high-owned. Thoughts on Kyle Anderson? No reason to go there. Would you go Doncic, Valanciunas, or Lillard Porzingis? Yeah, that's a tricky one. Lillard Porzingis is going to be a lot higher owned. J-Val is a little bit tricky. Again, he only shot the ball twice, but the upside could be higher on Doncic, Valanciunas if JV is, we're going to get the aggressive JV offensively. So I think the safer option is Lillard Porzingis, but the low-owned GBP option is probably Valanciunas, obviously, even though Doncic, I think, will be higher on. Jabari Parker, yeah, Jabari Parker is a guy that I think could play big minutes in this game. I think we get more players resting for the Kings. Could be wrong, but that's my assumption. Frank Mason will be a great play if he gets minutes. He always shoots and throws dimes. Yeah, I currently have Frank Mason in my lineup. So value options I have in right now, guys, again, I have NAW. I have Frank Mason, I have Thibault, I have Harry Giles. That's the value I have. Thoughts on Jeff Green? I think Jeff Green is solid, should play big minutes. The issue is he is center eligible. I guess center's not super strong today. So yeah, I'm good with Jeff Green at his price. Again, probably safe plays. Guys like Jeff Green, guys like Rivers, guys like McLemore. Those are probably safe value options. I have Daquan, let's see. Lotus burned me once by owning him. Hopefully he doesn't burn me by not owning him today. Parker or Badgley. Oh, I'm going to go Parker there. I think Bielitsa could get limited. He loves Lillard today. What about Jabari Parker? Yeah, I like Jabari Parker. Again, I assume we get more guys resting for the Kings. Could be wrong there, but they have absolutely nothing to play for. Troy Brown thoughts? I'm going to stay away. I think there's a chance they get limited or maybe they even rest, even though they're younger guys. Maybe, these are games they want to see the guys in the end of the bench play. So, yeah, thoughts on Josh Hart? Again, I like him. I think we do get more guys resting. Guys like J.J. Redick. I don't think J.J. Redick and Favors play. I could be wrong, but Favors has been dealing with injuries all year. J.J. Redick is 36 years old. I don't see the point in running those guys out in a meaningless game. Please repeat value plays. Again, there's a lot of potential, but NAW, Frank Jackson, possibly like Jackson Hayes. On the King side, there's Jabari Parker, there's Harry Giles. On the Wizards, kind of up in the air. On the Bucks side, you have Connaughton, you have Frank Mason, you have DJ Wilson. Those are all guys that, Thibault. Is it Thibault? Finna Thibault. Oh, I thought you were saying pronunciation. Kyle Anderson, Jerome Robinson. I wouldn't play either. I guess Jerome Robinson and just hope some of those guys rest on Washington. Appreciate it, man. Good luck today. Yeah, no problem. Hopefully we do get some news of guys getting ruled out later in the day. I really think it will happen. And I think that could be a huge edge for us if you're taking the risk with me and getting potentially great value in the late games. I think that's going to wrap it up, though, guys. We're about 10 minutes after lock. I'm going to get out of here. Mike Scott thoughts. He's a veteran. I wouldn't go there. I would go to Thibault personally, or Burks, or O'Quinn, or Pele, right? So I wouldn't play Mike Scott. But thanks again, guys. If you guys don't follow me on Twitter, it's important to do so. I'll make sure to keep you guys updated throughout the day when we hopefully get news of more guys resting in those later games. So let's see. What comps? Is CJ McCollum a good play? Yeah. CJ McCollum is a nice contrarian play off of Damian Lillard. I have Russ, Luka, Booker, and Nurk with about min left for rest. Need some late night value. Yep. I mean, you're taking the risk with me. It is a risk. There's always a chance, starters still get decent run in those late games and meaningless games. We saw it with the Lakers, which really tilted me last night. Thibault or Burks, I like both a lot. And again, that's assuming Tobias and Al Horford are out. I'm making a lot of assumptions on the slate, but Burks probably has a little bit more upside than Thibault, but I do like both of them a lot. Thoughts on Westbrook, Lillard, Doncic, Covington, Connaughton, TLC, NAW, Giles. Good with it. And Rocco will play big minutes. Keldon Johnson's fine. But I think there's probably better value. Thanks, DK. Good stuff. Thoughts on Milton at point guard? I prefer Burks for the discount. I think Milton's in play, though. All right, that's the last one, though. I'm going to get out of here. Hope you guys have a good day. Hopefully win some money, and I will see you all later.